Ladies and gentlemen, gamers of all ages, welcome to Tric Trac TV. I'm here today with two very special people. This is Sebastian from Space Cowboys. How's it going?
Very well, thank you.
And this is Manu, who is the author of the game we're going to talk about today. Sorry, how are you?
Fine.
And the game we're going to talk about today is this one. Now, it's quite hard to see with our white background, but it is a very pretty box. And this is T.I.M.E Stories, the latest game from the aforementioned Space Cowboys. So, tell us a little bit about it, because this game, it's been talked about a lot.
Yeah, it's been talked about a lot because it took so much time to develop. So it's been going on for years now, but finally we're here. So it's, what do you want to know, about the rules or how it's...
Well, I suppose what kind of game is it? Because that's one of the things a lot of people have a hard time...
It's hard to tell. I think it's kind of a crossover between a kind of role-playing game, but not with as much freedom as a real role-playing game. And a Euro game with, you know, little things you can choose and
lots
add
of
on.
wooden tokens, I
yes,
see.
But even though there is not as much
course.
strategy as there might be in a Euro game. So it's a good hybrid.
It's a hybrid between
But mainly it's about telling stories, and it's about living a story and an adventure with your pals around the table.
Okay, so on that note, we do have to mention this is a story-driven game. So we don't want to spoil it for you guys. I think everybody needs to experience this game on their own without any spoilers. So if we are purposefully vague on any details, do forgive us. It's for your own good.
Definitely not because of the English. It's because of the
no, it's not.
yeah, we'll be vague. We'll tell you about the whole game. We'll show the first scene of the official scenario.
That's the one.
And then we'll leave it at that. Because,
exactly.
as you just said, you shouldn't see too much.
No, we're going to run through the setup, more or less the mechanics, but to show you guys how the game actually works, Croc, who couldn't be here sadly, he's written us a special Tric Trac scenario.
Very, very special.
Very special, so I'm
very
told I know,
very
Tric Tracking, I know nothing about it, so I am anxious to play through it. Yeah. And that's what we're going to use to show you the actual mechanics. In the meantime, we're going to go very vaguely once again through the system itself. So take it away.
All right, so you have a board. The setting is we're time agents. And we're part of an agency which is called T.I.M.E, and we're sent back here and there, or not necessarily back, actually, we're just sent somewhere at some time. And we have a mission, usually to prevent something bad from happening or to restore something in order to, you know, the time to flow smoothly. And so it's a kind of sci-fi setting, but actually the games and the scenarios, they can be anytime, anywhere. So, for example, the first one is Asylum. It's in 1921 in France. This one is 1992 in America. There's a one which is a fantasy one, which has no date, basically, or any date you wish.
Bearing in mind that it's not just our timeline.
No, it's kind of parallel time and stuff. So all this is an excuse to send you somewhere with a different setting and a different mission. So all this here is pretty generic, which means it's, well, generic, pretty bland, because what we want is to really have the scenario pop and not the rest of the thing.
Well, I wouldn't call it bland. It's
not bland, but it's elegant, but it's pretty smooth.
Yes.
It's whitish, everything, and stuff like that. You have a timeline, basically, where you're going to have a time token, which gives you how much time you have for your mission. And the core of the game is, once you're in a mission, every so often, or every round actually, you just spend time to do something, which was going to be two types of actions, basically. It's pretty simple. And at some point, either you succeed in your mission, which is possible in the first run, but very difficult, but it could happen, or you run out of time. And when you run out of time, you reset the whole game, and you set back. It's like Groundhog Day, right? You set back, but now you know things. And you might have kept a couple of informations, and physically, I mean, but most of the thing, mainly it's about what you know. So now I know I shouldn't go talk to that guy because it's a bit weird.
I shouldn't pull that lever because it opens the pit.
Or I should definitely talk to him first because he gives me access to that and this and that. And the more you play, the more the story unfolds and the more the scenario unfolds. And at some point, you finish the story.
You can't actually lose the game.
Oh, you can. You definitely can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you can.
Right, okay.
You might die and then come back, but if everybody dies, then you're gone. Yep. When you die, you lose time, and the more you die, the more time you lose. You don't die that much, though, the scenarios up to now, because it's an open system. but you might die.
Okay. But when you say die, do you mean that we stop the game and it's game over,
No,
or we just reset the game
player,
and go again?
No, one player is going to be off for some time, out for some time, and come back. And if we're all out with them. At some scenarios, depending on what you do, it really says, okay, you're screwed. Your mission is over. Go back, and then you know you did really something really
this game can
bad
punish you if you mess around.
It's not really punishing. It's just
well, it doesn't.
It's
come
kind of
without
punishing.
consequences.
Yeah, that's
it's not a punishing, difficult game, but there is a reason not to lose repeatedly.
Exactly. One thing I wanted to get back to, it's the thing. This game, the whole game, is meant as a video game, kind of. So this is what you get when you buy the box, plus one scenario, and then you get new scenarios. And
game
it's a really, you have a console, and then you plug a deck, and play a deck. You plug a deck, and start playing.
And then I was going to say game console, but it's very 1990s of me.
It is.
Your CD or your DLC, whatever
exactly.
you want to call
put
it.
your tape.
That's it, yeah, wind it back up. No, and these are the different episodes that you can play with the base game.
Yeah. Exactly.
And these are, all the base material is in the box.
Yes,
and these are just the cards you need to play.
This is just a deck. We call it a deck exploring game because you explore the deck, and everything you need to play is in the deck.
Gotcha.
Once you have the material for the components.
And there are going to be 3 of these available already, I believe, just for the viewers.
No, off the bat, it's one in the box,
right.
one satellite available, and 2 more, one I think in December, and another one in maybe
it's every 3 months,
Cannes,
I
it's
believe,
going to be February or
every 3 months.
Start, and we have 2 more that more or less ready, and then we'll see.
So it's a game that we're going to play once or twice and then get it out again every couple of months.
Hopefully, if you care for a new scenario, a new story, a new atmosphere.
Well, I would hope so. With the hype that's generated around this game, I would be disappointed otherwise.
So how it works? Well, the components there's no real sense to go into them like that. The main thing is the deck. Right. So when you buy a deck or when you get a new deck, you get a deck. It always is the same. It has 2 flashcards, so you don't see this or that.
No, that's clever. I'll just show that to because this is how little we want to spoil this game for people. That's the front card, so it's written on. This is French, by the way, if you don't recognise it. So do not open before you've read the rules of the game. And on the back, there's another flashcard to make sure you can't accidentally see anything. Yeah. If you throw the deck across the room, you might see something, but we won't advise that.
This is not good. Yeah. So first thing you do is you remove the 2 flashcards, put your deck, and actually you're ready to go. And that's one thing we talked about it earlier in French. Croc was saying that about the role-playing game that takes a lot of time, or maybe not for the players, but at least for the maître de jeu, the game master, who has to prepare the scenario, right? He has to know the world, the rules. Here, actually, once everybody knows how to play, how the mechanics work,
you just plonk that deck down.
You just plug it in, you're ready to go, everybody knows how to play, here we go. Okay. And it always starts the same. There's a base where you have your mission given to you. Right. So open it, always the same thing. Card A is here, and then you unfold up to G. So you unfold the thing, and this always gives you a panorama, a scenery, or the picture of where you are. So this is going to go up to FG.
There we go.
And that's the base. It's a location. We'll have in the deck several locations, many locations actually, but the game always starts the same, where you start turning over a card, and here we go. It says a soft voice is telling you blah 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 blah. It's Laura. It's the computer of the headquarters, and she tells you flavor text, do this, do that, and then you introduce to Bob, who's your instructor. And on the base, everybody has to read 1 card aloud. Okay. And the base is actually to tell you what your mission is. In this case, you have to close a time rift. Yep. That's the mission. Also, what each character in this game, what characters do we have? I mean, what kind of carac, strength,
abilities. What characters will we be playing?
All right. Yeah. And also, how much time you have to start with, and if there is, maybe not in this one, if there is a special rule. So on the next game you play, all of a sudden they will tell you this chip now is bullets, for instance, and this one is a med kit, and the special rule for this scenario is blah blah blah, and this one blah.
So that's what you meant about these being very generalized.
Yes, it's very generalized because here it might be a bullet, the next one's going to be a med kit, so there's going to be a flower, it could be a plant, could be whatever.
So I'll just show that up on the closed cam. These are just standard general chits. I think
and
it's actually a good name for them.
You'll get to know what it is in the base.
And this blue one today might be a gun. Tomorrow it might be a bunch of flowers.
Yeah, or maybe not a gun, but could be.
Yes, well, you never know.
You never know. And that's the thing. I mean. You never know.
Exactly.
So we read the card. The guy says, "Hi, welcome. This is your mission. Blah blah blah." And then he tells you what the real mission is. Here it's preventing the creation of a temporal rift.
Setting the scene.
And then goes on talking about a bit what's happening on location when you arrive. Here you get what you're going to have on your characters. So there's going to be agility. This is chit chat. The way between people.
Social interaction.
Exactly. And then strength or fight.
Okay.
So when we get our characters or receptacles, we'll see that they have this with different levels.
Okay.
And then you have the computer that takes over and tells you what to do. So you keep reading. Okay. Put it's in French. But put the item cards on their play and spot. So you take all the items, which are going to be between one. Here is 30. Another could be less. Could be more.
Okay.
And green back. Put it on the green slot, and they're ready to use. It could be whatever. Information, item, we'll see. Okay. No, we won't see here, but you'll see at some point. Then you always start with 4 maps that give you the location where you're going to arrive on your first run. And here you have all the locations of the game, which everything that's written, everywhere there's something written, you might go with your team.
Okay.
Then you put the time marker on 25 or 30, depending on how many players, but time units. So here it says 25.
Yep,
well, with 3, let's say with 3.
We'll
so
say we're the 3 people
would be
around
30,
the table,
it doesn't matter. So it would be 30. It's not this one, thank you. It's this one, 30. And then the 5 cards mission, if you made your mission or you failed. There's a failed mission where you always have to go by yourself if you happen to run out of time. This is your job to go by yourself. And the rest of the time, the game will tell you you successful mission, or you missed, go read the red one because you might have, I don't know, drowned, or go this one because you might have
you've done this,
pulverized, or I don't know. So this is going to be on the side and ready to grab. And then you keep reading, final things, blah, 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 and then choose a receptacle. Receptacle, that's a shell. That's what the guys
these are the characters you can play in the game, right?
As you can see, there are 8 of them.
They don't. Well, we are going to an asylum here, so I wouldn't expect them to be
no, they're
potentially.
Not.
Well, she's a good looker, but
they're good
she's
looking,
definitely
but
not.
Some,
once again, this is one of the good things about having a nice, elegant game board is that the artwork from this game, where you've had a whole host of artists work on it and the different versions.
Many artists,
so that the artwork for it is absolutely fantastic.
And the idea is that each deck has a different artist. Yes. So it's a different world, different time, different artist.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Marcy case, well, that's the art.
It's a difference.
From the back of back of that one, so you can definitely see the difference. Style. So but it's all right. And top name artists.
And then on the other side of a character, you have what he can do, maybe a special ability, his name, background, and flavor text, that kind of things. So we choose one, either at random or we might really choose it. Okay. First game you might buy at random because you don't know what you should take depending on the scenario. You get it in front of you, doesn't matter, just for the show and tell. You get a couple of things. She doesn't get anything. He doesn't either, actually, not in this one. You might get things to start with. A token saying, one of those has like, he does, but things. And you put it on there. They're going to be chips, and you have 3.
Yes, and this is where it says take these chips. They count as.
They can be this. Blah blah blah.
Okay, right, gotcha.
And then the time captain. There's a time captain. The time captain is the one who's in charge of time. He's going to be a bit supervising, making sure everybody spends time for everything and that everything runs smoothly. And this changes at every new location because it's also going to be the guy who reads aloud when there's something to be read. So everybody's really taking part. There's nobody who can kind of sit back and be out of the action. Yep. You have to be involved. So the time captain has to take the base and fold it or put it back. The base we usually put on the side, because you might want to go back to what was the mission exactly? Is it all right? Let's put it back. This is a reminder of the icons of this.
What you've just been told
of this very specific scenario, and then just said there. You open la salle de repos, which is the
visiting room.
We should have been. We're told somewhere to put our team marker somewhere. That's where we are. The whole team is always
on the map.
Undividable. Okay. We're always there all together. Right. And then it says, okay, close the base, open the location. And when you open a location, of course, the very first one is on top. After that, you'll have to look for it. Right. You have always same thing, A card, and then goes up to F. So you unfold the thing, and that's where you start. So now we're in an asylum. Obviously.
So if I'll just show them this, because this is one of the top cards for the deck, and you can see it's got A, B, C, D, E, F, which means, well, you can actually have up to 8 cards, I think, for a room.
It's going to 8, yeah.
That's the one. So this one says you need 6, so you draw the 6 cards that are underneath.
So here we're ready to start. That's what we should be all sitting on the same side, actually. Here for the table, a bit big, but the idea is to really see what we're seeing. Also, it's important, but sometimes you have clues you might have clues on the cards, etc., etc.
You have to observe.
Observe. So the captain reads the card aloud, and he says, okay, you're in the visiting room of an asylum, there's a gramophone with soft music, blah, 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 blah. And at some point you have some text in bold saying, a nurse responsible of the room is by the door, standing by the door. Behind her, a guy is looking at his chessboard, another lady is painting somewhere, blah, blah, and so on. This one is not described, for instance. And then that's when the game starts. So now each of us has a little token to remember which color you are, and a big token that represents your character, or you in your character. Now we've seen the senior, we've seen the thing. We can talk about what we should do, what you want to do, where you want to go. Okay, I want to see what she has to say. You might say, I want to see what this guy, and you say, oh yeah, he's weird, I'll come with you. Or nobody spoke about it, I want to go there, whatever. Then we look at the thing. And you can only look at the card if you're on that card. Now, since we're all in these transfer tanks there, we have the ability of telepathy. So we can talk to each other. Now, we shouldn't really either show the card or read aloud. This is a bit boring. You should say, okay, this is what's happening to me. It's about telling the story. Oh, I just saw this guy, and he told me that. And she says, well, blah, 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 and this. Well, what you...
So you don't read the card back?
Nah,
you
shouldn't.
Describe it as you were telling, as if you were telling
Exactly. You live it, and then this is what's happening to me.
Okay.
So you guys read this, I read that, and then what shall we do? And now comes the time into action. Going into a place is always free, and now you have to spend time. So it's always, time counter says, for 1, we can each have one of 2 actions. Either we move, or we roll a certain number of dice because there's a challenge on the card. And always that. Right. So let's say you had a challenge and I didn't. Say, okay, let's spend 1. I move, you guys roll, see what happens. Then what shall we do? Your challenge is not finished. I don't have a challenge, so we spend 1. I move again, you guys roll. Or I join you guys, you roll. And then on the next turn we can all roll, etc., etc. And it's really one time unit, 1 action.
And
but
when you move, sorry, go on.
But you talk about what shall we do? Should we do this? And everybody does whatever he wants to. That's the thing. If you say, yeah, you should go there, I'm going to join you guys.
Go here, thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. So you do whatever you want to.
And is it when you move into an area that you flip over the card and read it?
You flip over and say, oh, now I see this, now I see that. Here it says, get the item this one. So I'm going to grab this item. Oh, guys, I just found something. It says blah, blah, blah. Shall we? Oh, in the light of this new piece of information, maybe we should go back to whatever. At some point, okay, there's challenges, there's a way to solve the things. The challenge might be lethal or non-lethal, just there to make you lose time, whatever. Maybe not going to go into this specific field. It's not super, well, plus it's just techniques. But at some point we might say, okay, now we're done with this room. Where shall we go? And say, okay, there's dormitory, there's the patio, infirmary, kitchen. Oh, let's go to the kitchen. Everybody's happy? Okay, let's go to the kitchen. We move this, then we fold this room because we're done here, but we don't throw it away. We put it below. We might get back. We might come back anytime. We're allowed to. And we put it here to lose the sense of time and depth. So we don't know what have we seen, what have. It's like, we'll see. And then you go looking for the kitchen here. And then, and this is a very sensitive point of rule, you should just look at the card like that. So it's in French, I'm looking for cuisine. I have the cuisine, so and it's these cards.
So you just draw them
Open the kitchen, which I'm not going to do. Reveal the kitchen, and then we keep on playing. And then we're done, put the kitchen below, Where are we going? There, this. And we keep playing until either you run out of time, or at some point the game says, oh, mission succeeded, you can go and do this, and read the card and stuff.
Okay.
I think that's about it.
That sounds like
and then, okay, you didn't succeed, everything is put back to 0, you may stack your thing, remove everything. But you know things.
She's going to do
you
this.
You might have a couple of items or knowledge which have a special stamp that says you can keep them because it's knowledge. So now I'm allowed to. There are some, we didn't have the opportunity here, some cards that need a token. You'll have a design on the card saying you can only go on this card if you have this token. And this token you might collect in different ways because you're not allowed to see this information yet. You need either, I don't know.
Once again, it's like the generic chips.
And they're generic again because they're going to be used in any game, in every kind of situation.
Fantastic.
And then once you're done, you pack everything away. If you take a new game, same story, take the deck, remove the 2 flashcards, read the base, you have the new rules, you have the mission, the world you're going to get into, what's going to happen, and then you start off same story.
Sounds perfect. 2 questions.
Yes.
What are the codex entries? Okay, so that is something. Okay, it's not something you. No, it's something the game will have you interact with.
At some point, you're going to have to stack cards.
Okay, that's fine.
Put it on Codex
I didn't know if
put it in Codex 2.
Because it says Codex, I didn't know if it was maybe you pick up a card and you go, oh, this one might be good to remember, so you put it there.
That's the kind of. It's more of a card you shouldn't forget.
Right. Okay.
But on the other hand, it could be anything because that's the good thing about the game. It definitely could be anything. Here we have like normal themes because it's asylum here, and here it's the 90s in America. But as we said jokingly before, it could be these amoebas. Who knows? If the scenario is interesting, of course. If it's just about floating around, might not be interesting. But basically, everything is free, and you could say, okay, now here you put one. This is maybe the whole universe, and this is actually your starship. And you can scale up, scale down, zoom in, zoom out. Anything is possible. So here, Codex is to have room to have special places to do something at some point.
Okay. And these squares here, I assume,
these are to stack. These ones, because when you win one, you earn one, you get it here, and it's available to the whole group.
Got it.
Because for let's say, I don't know. Let's not say.
Let's say you get a token.
You get a token.
And that's there to remind you that you have it.
And you're allowed to do something thanks to that token.
Great.
And that's indeed stacked here. This is to stack the difficulty of the shields.
Okay.
So the more shields there is, the more difficult. The more skulls you have, the more lethal. And then you have a special tokens with shields, which will depend from scenario to scenario to make the challenges, a variety of challenges.
Well, it seems like the game was definitely
everything.
The board was definitely made to basically take any sort of scenario that you guys can think of.
We guys, or actually everybody. In a rather near future, we're going to have a kit on our website with all the icons, with all the sizes and everything. And somebody who's played and who's got ideas, he might just
that would be
with a computer
cool.
Or even cut it out and do his own scenario. It's a lot of work. Yeah. It's like 150 to 200 cards. The one we're going to play later is, you'll see, it's like 40 cards. It's more of a silly thing.
Yes,
so
well, it is a demo version.
It could be something you do for somebody's birthday, I don't know. But it's more of a silly thing.
Of course.
A real scenario is a pain in the lower back to really make well. But who knows? I mean, anyone might have the capacity or is willing to creativity or has a story to tell, and he could do one and make one and see what happens.
So. And that will be an online resource available for everyone.
Available, or he might send it to us. We might play it. If it's playable off the bat, same thing. We put it here, play, and it's great.
Job done.
The real difficulty is to have a twist. Let's go. Once you've played one, there's a certain structure to the whole thing, and it's great if the next scenario has another structure with something different you might do, and say, oh, that's great, because now we can do this, and it's a whole new thing that opens up. But everything is possible. We'll see what the future is holding.
So how long is one scenario then, on average? How long is the asylum scenario?
It depends on...
If you're not too bad at it.
It depends on the players. If you got players that are really like calculating players, it could be relatively fast, like maybe an hour for a run, and it's going to be 2, 3, 4 runs, depending on how well you do. Now, I've seen first runs that last 2 hours, because the guys were totally into role-playing. She's like a oh, I don't know.
Well, they took
and they
on
go,
the
oh
role-playing
wait,
aspect.
no, I don't want. And they do like they role play and stand up and do stuff. So this is more time around the table, but of course, gaming time it slows everything down.
Of course.
But it's nice for the atmosphere. So it depends.
Okay.
But it's not going to be like twice 20 minutes and you're done.
Yeah, it's not something you're going to finish in 1 or 2 hours.
This is not going to happen, no, because first you have to read the rules, then you go to the first time, it's okay, you discuss things, and that's I think one of the first ideas Manuel had is to have a first thing that could be very role-playing and acting and stuff, and then the more you play, the more technical it gets, because at some point you want to get done and optimize. Okay. But you have you really have
the possibility.
Range. So to kill one, it's going to be 3 to 6 hours maybe, depending. That's what we've seen. We've seen everything basically, and then that's it. And one of the scenarios is one you could replay as a challenge, kind of. Okay, let's see with this team if we succeed as well. It's 2, and depends. So
so the game has a slight amount of replayability in that then,
even
though it's mostly story driven. So
it is, yeah, it is. And also there is something which is a bit on the side, but still there is some fun as you get fun at having your pals play. It wasn't really intended that way, but as we had so many tests and all the time, every time with a different crowd, because you need people who didn't know the scenario. The more you see people play, each group has a different approach. They'll go first there. They'll have the most. I know. I get it. Wait, listen. Actually, blah 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 blah, and everybody has a different story, and it's always wrong, until some point. But still, and that's honestly, that's a real piece of fun to just watch people go around. You kind of see, and then you do the game master.
Of course.
But that's not the first thing. First is to play, but actually you can have your friends play. And it's pretty funny.
It's a storytelling experience, so
it is
discovering it with different people.
It's definitely about what's going on in the group and the story that's being told.
That's the role playing element to it, really. Okay, brilliant. Well, in that case, I think we've seen everything.
I think so.
Anything? No, I think we're good to go. In that case, we're going to go and summon our fellow time agent, Monsieur Guillaume.
For the silly.
And we're going to have a crack at this special Tric Trac scenario. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. See you then.